So we got a bunch of stuff to talk about tonight. We'll start
We
where we
do.
always do usually, and that's anything you saw good in that, because I feel like tonight's a game it might be hard to find anything up in the Canucks play tonight.
Yeah, that was a tough period for sure. You knew Tampa was going to come out flying. Their first home game, the hurricane, everything they were going through as a community. Um, Canucks wise, the top line looked promising.
Mhm.
Baines had our best scoring chance so far. He's been hard on the puck. Everything else looks very well. Seelov's too.
Mhm.
This game could very easily be 3-4-0. He has made some big saves, especially late there. So other than that, it's pretty sloppy. I think we're seeing a lot of the growing pains of adding 7 guys to the lineup
Mhm.
in the off season. Um, training camp is training camp, but once you get into game situations, it's a totally different beast. So I think we have to be patient over the first 10 games. I think we have the players in place, but we really need time to start to gel and find how everyone's going to fit into each role.
Yeah, I think for me the up was just Tyler Myers being in the game, and then on top of that, I
Yep.
mean, I didn't even notice him for the first little bit, but that penalty kill. I mean, there was probably 3 or 4 attempts to go right into the slot, and he had that thing covered. There was nothing going on, so that would be my up. Tyler Myers playing and actually looking really really effective out there, at least for that penalty kill.
Yeah, and we talked about that last game. When Forbert was in the slot there, and it would normally have been Myers where he chokes off those passes. He really clogs up that middle well. So he's a very welcome return on that penalty kill for sure.
So it might be a little easier to look at downs then. What are your like main downs for the Canucks through that first period?
Oh, I mean, our power play's got to shoot. We got too many guys that look tentative to shoot right now. Their confidence looks shaken. Many of the most successful power plays across the league generate their chances on the power play with a shot from the point, and then whatever happens from there happens. Um, we don't do that a lot, and we work the perimeter to death. And eventually, the box gets too small to move a puck into the middle, and we have nothing to work with. So I don't know what needs to change there, but maybe it's time to try Hronik on the power play one with Hughes, maybe as just a shot guy. I don't know, but someone's got to start shooting from the blue line.
Well, one of the kids in the chat here, AJ Duelist, made a point. Like there was that one play on the power play. Pedersen looked like he had, enough time to have a coffee before he even took a shot and didn't.
Yep,
So
and same with Hughes too. He had a great chance in the slot on the power play, and he deferred over to Petey, and they both just look like no one wants to pull the trigger.
is it one of those things? I think a lot of the time with these skilled guys is they're looking for that perfect shot. They're trying to put it bar down, but then there's something to be said for just getting it through, getting it to the net, and seeing what happens with chaos in front.
I think it's a little of both. I think everyone's trying to be too perfect for sure. I think anyone who takes a shot wants to score, so they're very picky. But I mean, at some point, it's just you just got to get pucks to the net. Pucks to the net is what's going to get goals. So, sometimes you got to get a couple dirty ones to get your confidence back up.
Some grease on that. I guess the next topic is actually kind of a down as well. A little upsetting news coming out of the OHL. Canucks prospect Romani with a fairly serious injury broke his clavicle the other night. That's probably going to be a couple months out. And after a big 111-point season, kind of a steal to pick him up where we did. Was it the third round or 162nd overall? I think it was
Sixth round. Sixth
yeah,
round.
sixth
Yeah.
round.
Yeah.
So
So I mean, he was a steal. So no major risk there, I don't think. In the sense that um, it's unfortunate. Hopefully he can come back this season and have some of that offensive spark he had last year. He was a point per game before he was hurt. Um, The nice thing is he's a July birthday, so if needed, he is eligible for another year in junior.
Mm.
So that is another positive to hit to him, to his draft pick.
I mean, it's just such a tough situation too. Obviously, it's all about development down there in the OHL, and if you're sitting on the sidelines, there's no development happening. So, like you said, having that extra year with that late with the July birthday might actually be great for the Canucks,
Yeah.
and maybe push his development just a year down the road. Hopefully,
Yep. Yeah, hopefully. It'd be nice if he can get back and get into the games this year, but it's hard to say with a clavicle. It could take a bit. It's going to take a bit to heal first and foremost, and see if he has any pain. So we'll see what happens.
now I'm not a doctor, but the clavicle is what is it, your collarbone?
The collarbone.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. And obviously, that's when your arms are a big part of that. So, I mean, hopefully everything heals up proper. Maybe he gets a little Iron Man inserted into him.
Absolutely.
So we got the first game of the road trip tonight, obviously. 4-game road trip swinging through Florida and then Philly and Chicago. What kind of
Yep.
what kind of expectations are you setting on this road trip after a couple of rough overtime / shootout losses to start the year?
I think realistic expectations we got to have as fans is a 500 road trip.
Mhm.
Tampa Bay is Tampa Bay. They are ready for this home opener. They're going to be tough. Florida has come right out of the gate, just right where they left off. They're scoring goals. They look dominant. So that's going to be an extremely tough game as well. Philadelphia, for whatever reason, it's one of those teams. You know how we always seem to have crazy games against the Anaheim Ducks where it's just like they get out of control and it's always right around Halloween. Well, Philadelphia is another one of those teams where it just is inexplicable, where we're like, we've only have 16 wins all time against the Philadelphia Flyers.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't make any sense.
I mean, the quick maths, that's like one win every like 4 years or something like that.
Yeah, I think we have double the amount of losses that we do wins against them.
It's just, yeah, I agree. For whatever reason, I feel like the Chicago game's probably a gimme. Like Chicago has added some veteran presence to surround Bedard, but at the end of the day, they're a team that the Canucks should, with their system, be able to beat.
Yeah, on paper, it's the quote unquote easy game. It's should be the lob, but they have been scoring very well to start off the year. So we will still have to be on our toes. We can't take any team lightly in this league.
Yeah, Bedard with 5 points through his first 3 games, so looking really good so far. So yeah, you're saying you
Absolutely.
probably end up with 2-2. So they beat Chicago, they lose to Philly, they beat Florida and lose to Tampa, maybe.
Maybe they might beat Philly. I think they have a better chance of beating Philly, getting payback against them. Um, they might be able to win this game tonight. So it could be the Tampa Bay win again and the Chicago win, but I think 500s are likely best case scenario.
Yeah. So I mean, Canucks fans are nervous right now. The next topic we're going to talk about is the Edmonton Oilers.
Yeah.
How worried are they?
I mean, I think the offense is going to come. They're just too talented. I mean, you have McDavid, you have Draisaitl, you have Hyman, you have Nugent Hopkins, you have Jeff Skinner now. Like, there's just too many people that can score for them to continue to struggle offensively. Defensively is where you got to worry about the Oilers. If I'm an Oilers fan, the revolving door with Darnell Nurse on the second pairing, this quickly is going to raise alarm bells. With the cap strap they have, I mean, he's a $9.25 million cap hit. He's getting paid $12 million this year to be maybe a fourth guy on the blue line. It's going to seriously hurt their chances of picking up useful players at the trade deadline. I really don't see how from the blue line to the goal crease them improving from what they have now. Also, their penalty kill has gotten much worse. They lost Cody Cece, who ate a ton of their penalty kill minutes, and you're seeing that big time. The player they traded for him was a healthy scratch the last game. So Edmonton has a long way to go. They have a lot further to go than us, I think, when it comes down to it, because the things they should be doing will come, but the stuff they need to be doing, there's some big question marks and red flags on those.
I mean, you wonder if the long run into the playoffs last year, losing the Stanley Cup final, hurts them. The stat that everyone's been talking about the last time the Oilers started 0-3 and made the playoffs was 1981. And it was a year that Wayne Gretzky scored 55 goals and 164 points. And they began the season losing 4-7 to the Nordiques, 2-3 to the Rockies, and 0-2 to the Buffalo Sabres. So only one team even exists from that. But you look at it, like they lost 6-0 to the Jets, 5-2 to the Blackhawks, and 4-1 to the Flames. So it's not even like they've been in these games. I mean, the Flames game, they were definitely in it, 2 goals called off and all that. But at the end of the day, the Flames is a team that they should be able to handle easily.
Absolutely. I mean, they're being outscored 15-3 over those 3 games. That's not something that a Stanley Cup final team should be doing. But they did lose some key pieces due to cap issues, and you could see that coming, and it's only going to get worse for them from here.
Okay, enough talk about the Coilers. Let's move on to just down the highway, number 1. Abby Canucks, we've talked about it. You're our man. Can you give us just a quick update on the 2 games that they've played so far?
Yeah, they picked up 3 of 4 points in Calgary, which is a positive start to the season. Patera played the second game. Everyone overall looked pretty good. The offense looks great. They absolutely peppered the Calgary goaltender in game 2. I think they had 48 shots, and 43 of those were in regulation.
Wow.
So the top line with Nielsen and Carlson looks very good to start the season. Another player who looks really good is Sammy Blais, which it's interesting with Sammy Blais because I do believe with him, he's a UFA at the NHL level. So if he really starts going, I think any team could realistically step in and take him. I don't know what rights we have to him at the NHL level anymore, due to the fact that he is only signed to an AHL contract. It's not a two-way. It's not the PTO. He was released from the PTO. So, but he has looked very strong out of the gate as well. Another guy who has looked very good is Eric Brandstrom. It looks like Alvin has pulled off another magical trade and picked up a player who could be very useful. He looks very speedy.
Yeah, I saw him he had a really good dash and that didn't end up scoring, but his stick handling looked really, really good on that play.
Yeah, his puck control with speed is very, very nice to watch. But then obviously the game 2, we did end up losing in a shootout, just like our big brother team. Which brings me to a point I wanted to talk to you about. Like, is it time for the shootouts to go?
Hell yeah.
I was really frustrated with the last game watching I don't even want to say effort that our players put into the shootout. Save for Jake DeBrusk, who went in there flying and got our only goal. One thing I've noticed over time is the difference between penalty shots and shootouts and the approach that players take to them. When you see a player take a penalty shot during the game, they tend to come in with great speed, get the goalie on his heels where he can't move or react as quickly, and they tend to score far more often on a penalty shot. And then when we end up in the shootout, we see players almost overthinking it and taking so long to come in across the blue line. They're going side to side, just barely keeping their forward momentum. It almost takes away from the spirit of the game in the sense that, like, what are we doing? What am I watching here?
Well, it's one of those things where they brought in the rule.
Solution?
Remember when it was they had to keep the puck moving forward, right?
Yes, and that's still technically a rule, but it's being so it's being so leniently called, and players are taking advantage of that, and it's just getting to the point now where I don't know what the answer is. I personally enjoy the 3-on-3 overtime far more. I think it's very exciting, and I think if we just went to a 10-minute 3-on-3, that most games would be decided in that overtime. Players just don't have the gas in the tank to keep going 3-on-3.
It's one of those things I think from a novice hockey fan, I think the shootout can be very exciting. But for anyone who's been watching it for years, I mean, you even saw it at the Olympics years ago. I was just watching the Czech highlights where Gretzky sat on the bench for whatever reason. And if you're ending a team game in a skills competition, it just feels wrong to me.
Yes. And I mean, there's a reason why it's not used in the playoffs. And I just don't agree with the difference in playoffs and regular season. As far as I'm concerned, if we can't get a finish in 10-minute 3-on-3, then we need to bring back the tie point.
Ooh, we were just talking about the tie a little earlier.
Yeah, like 3 points for a regulation win, so that it forces teams to try and push for that win and not rag the puck too badly. Like that was the big problem with that's why the overtime point was gone, because of just ragging the puck and letting the time run out and getting that point. But I think if you put some incentives in place to push teams to push for that extra win or push for the win, it could be the difference on game 82 of making the playoffs or not making the playoffs. So I definitely think there's a way to make it more exciting and to make it more in the spirit of the game, but I just don't know what the answer is.
Thinking maybe a shot clock.
Could be.
Well, Dustin, as always, I appreciate you coming on. Nothing is perfect. As everyone can see, scrolling below him, Paragolf Pro, Paragolf_Pro on Twitch, Paragolf Pro on Instagram. Check him out. And you're thinking the Canucks come back tonight, eh?
I think we have a much stronger second period. I think we come out flying in the second period. The first period, we definitely needed to weather the storm. Tampa Bay in their first home game. I expect Tocchet to have some interesting things to say in the first intermission, and hopefully our boys hear it and come out great guns here.
Cool, awesome. Thanks for joining the show, brother. We'll talk to you again
soon. Thanks
for
having me.
Yeah, have a great day.
Absolutely.
Enjoy the rest of the game.
Canucks.
Bye.
Nothing is perfect.